Welcome back. This evening we're joined via Zoom by His Excellency Nishimaki Hisao, the Ambassador of Japan to Namibia, and Ms. Ericah Shafudah, Deputy Country Director of the World Food Programme Namibia. They join us to discuss the launch of the WFP's Commodity Voucher Programme, a vital initiative aimed at providing food assistance to over 26,000 people in the Ohangwena and Kunene regions. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
Very good evening, and thank you for having us.
Yes. Well, to start with, Ms. Shafudah, I'd like to ask you, perhaps you can share, with us more about the key objectives of the, Commodity Voucher Program and what it aims to achieve within the two regions that I mentioned, namely Ohangwena and Kunene regions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And once again, good evening and good evening, Namibia. First of all, and just to set the scene, I'm Ericah Shafudah, working for the World Food Programme in the capacity of Deputy Country Director. And by way of introduction, the World Food Programme, as commonly known, is the world's largest humanitarian organization with two mandates, that is saving lives in emergencies and changing lives through livelihood and resilience programs. Specifically coming to your question, you might recall that in May 2024, the president of Namibia, His Excellency Nangolo Bumba, declared a state of emergency that is drought that is induced by El Nino. And with that, the Prime Minister had also called on development partners and international communities and regional partners to complement government's efforts in terms of the response to the national drought. WFP with other development partners came in handy, and we are proud to say and thankful to say that the government of Japan came also on board to assist in this response. And specifically for today, we would want to inform the nation that the government of Japan gave through WFP, contributed, in fact, 500,000 US dollars. And it's because of that we are now in Ohangwena region, because Ohangwena and Kunene regions are the ones that are benefiting from this generous contribution. And together with the Office of the Prime Minister, we have agreed on the modality that will be adopted in terms of making the food reaching to the intended beneficiaries. And that is what we call commodity voucher, right? And I'm going to explain later, but coming to your question as to what is the objective of this commodity voucher program, it is really to provide food assistance to the target beneficiaries who are severely affected by the effects of drought that is induced by El Nino. And also to make sure that, again, this food really reaches the intended beneficiaries. We have put mechanisms in place, and we are going to explain further as we are progressing in this interview. Thank you.
Well, Ambassador, as Ms. Shafudah mentioned, Japan has generously contributed 500,000 US dollars to this initiative. What impact is it that you hope, this support will have on the struggling communities that have been affected by the El Nino-induced drought?
Well, thank you very much for asking me the very important question. And actually, we are somewhat shocked to know the fact that the 1.4 million Namibian people, well, 48% of the whole nationals in Namibia are starving. Well, in other words, so many people of, in Namibia are facing food insecurity. So after the announcement made by the president, it is somewhat required to urgent actions to save lives in Namibia. So that the Japanese government has rapidly made a decision to support the devastated people because of the drought through WFP. And we have been cooperating with WFP for saving those people, in the food security or malnutrition since 2021, recently. And not only for the WFP, but also we've supported the Namibian people through other UN agencies as well. But according to this, projects, we have targeted 26,555 beneficiaries in 2 regions of Kunene and Ohangwena. And especially because of those 2 regions are so much, harsh conditions, and so many people are in a trouble of getting the enough food items. So we have negotiated and we've discussed with WFP that we should give the devastated people by giving the maize meal and kind of food packages of 4 items: oil and canned food and others to the as I mentioned, targeted to people. And we hope that our efforts to give the food will not only one time, but it will continuously doing in 6 months. And also let me add one thing, that this is not the first and this is not the last projects for us. We continuously scrutinize the situations, and also we will check the necessity for the food grant in the future as well. So I hope this food assistance will impact a lot in the regions, in 2 regions especially. Thank you.
Ms. Shafudah, just walk us briefly through how the commodity voucher program actually works. Specifically, how will beneficiaries receive and access the food assistance?
Well, thank you so much. Like I have said, that we are working together with the Office of the Prime Minister in ensuring that the food assistance reach the targeted beneficiaries in a very faster and efficient manner. We have then agreed to introduce a system, in fact, to strengthen the system that government had already established. That is the system called Commodity and Beneficiary Management Information System, a system that is managed by the Office of the Prime Minister, and WFP is helping just to strengthen it, to ensure that many features that need to be in that system are in place. Now, how does this commodity voucher works? First, there is a process of identifying the beneficiaries, right? They get identified, they then get registered, then they get a card, a voucher, that is really matching the features of what is on their national identity cards. Now, that voucher has a quantity of goods that need to be provided at the presentation of that electronic voucher, right, that card. And this is done again once there's a retailer or a vendor that has also been identified in this process, of course, meeting the criteria. And the great thing of all these is that the vendor should not be very far from where the beneficiaries are. In fact, the criteria is that within the radius of 5 kilometers, the vendor or the retailer should avail the commodities that these beneficiaries would then have to be provided for as they are redeeming their voucher. So, like for example, today, because we wanted people to appreciate the theory into practice, we were in a village called Okauva in the Ondobe constituency, where 59 households were identified to benefit from these food assistance. So they really were subjected to that whole process, meaning they were identified, through various processes of identifying these beneficiaries very tight. The regional councils, the Office of the Prime Minister, the WFP, the headman. So it was a process that is quite tight to ensure that it is really most at-risk people who can benefit from this support. So they have been identified, they have been registered, they have been issued with their cards, and today they were then redeeming their vouchers at the vendor or a retailer, like we call them, at a Hafo shop. I can call it a Hafo shop because that's how it's written. In other words, the process is quite tight in the sense that each beneficiary is mapped, right, to the vendor. So if you are in Okauba, you cannot go and redeem your voucher at a shop in Ondangwa. No, the beneficiaries are mapped to the retailers so that then they can go and redeem their vouchers at that specific vendor. The good thing again with this voucher is that in the event that you just want to have your amazing meal that day and your 4 tins of fish and maybe your cooking oil is not yet finished and your instant porridge is not yet finished, you can redeem what you need for that day. And you can come back to get the balance of the other food items that you have not redeemed. Critical, you have to carry your ID because it is a prerequisite that you have to be presenting your ID so that we match the voucher features and your ID, and then you'll be allowed to redeem your voucher and get your food items.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Just lastly, Ambassador, partnerships, such as the one between Japan and the WFP are, of course, crucial. So what role do you believe, collaborations play in addressing long-term effects of climate change on Namibia's most vulnerable communities?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your question again. And, the Japanese government has been coordinating with WFP for a long time. And since 2021, Japanese government has funded more than 30 million Namibian dollars amount of fund to enhance the food resilience, as well as we've been helping the devastated people by giving them the necessary food items. But not only for that, we have discussed with the WFP to make the gardens besides the schools, and so that in the long run, many learners at schools can cultivate their own vegetables and foods by their own, by giving the expertise from WFP as well as some other agencies. So in the long run, we hope this kind of endeavor will help the Namibian people. The resilience, food resilience, in the long run. Thank you.
Well, Ambassador and Ms. Shafudah, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to us this evening. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. And keep on informing the nation about the good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a blessed one.
That was the Ambassador of Japan to Namibia, Nishimaki Hisao, and Ms. Ericah Shafudah speaking to us via Zoom there. We'll be right back.